guys, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel. Jenna here. I wanted to talk a little bit today about annual check-ins with things. So when you're further along in the OCD recovery journey, you don't really check your feelings so much. So you're not kind of on a day-to-day or even hour-to-hour basis thinking, oh, I feel a bit better now. Oh, I don't feel as bad now. Or, oh, I feel really, really bad now. So because you're not thinking about that all the time and you're not, checking the internal thermometer, I quite like to gauge things annually now. So for instance, my daughter had her school play, she didn't do it last year, but the year before. So 2 years ago was her last school play that she did. And I sat there the entire time. And it was when I had that really bad relapse that I talk about quite a lot with existential and health OCD. And I remember sitting there the entire time, and I had to bring my mum along with me. Obviously, my mum wanted to see the play anyway, but I had to bring her along with me for support because I didn't feel like I would be able to cope with it on my own. And I remember I was actually wearing a t-shirt that I'd had delivered earlier in the day because I was wearing it underneath a jumper, I might add, that I'd ordered earlier on, that I had delivered earlier on because I was trying to do the humour thing, even though I was in struggle street, like I was the worst probably I've ever been. And it said, my anxiety is chronic, but this arse is iconic. And I loved it. It was a great t-shirt. In fact, I still got it somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's covered in paint now because I used it as a painting t-shirt once. But I was wearing that underneath a jumper, and the anxiety was indeed chronic. I sat there the entire time thinking, I had this thing when I was struggling with existential. It was really strange. I was like sat in a chair, like whenever I was sat down anywhere, I would have this feeling like I was going to like fall back and like fall into like, I don't know, nothingness. That sounded really deep. That's how it felt. I was just going to fall into nothingness, whatever nothingness is. I don't know why I'm smiling as I'm saying this. It was terrifying. It was really, really scary. It was absolutely terrifying. And so I was sat there the whole time just thinking, I'm going to like implode, and like the flashing lights were making me feel weird, and the like just being in that close proximity to people and not feeling like I could escape. And I remember in the interval I went running outside, and I was just like standing outside like trying to breathe. My daughter actually ended up really hurting herself that night. So we were out in the audience watching the play, and her form tutor came out and said, oh, you need to come out the back, she's really hurt herself. And she had been like on a scooter going around the hall, like backstage, and she'd gone over this scooter and she'd like put her tooth through her lip, and it was like pouring with blood. It was really, really bad. And I remember like I was looking at her, and yes, what I would be thinking now in that moment is, oh my God, is she okay? But all I could think is, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like take her to a hospital, or like I'm gonna have to like, I need to do something about this. Like, and at that time I barely felt capable of, well, I didn't feel capable of leaving the house. Even having to drive to my mum's to pick her up and go to the play had already been like a massive thing, because driving at that time was a big no for me. Like I felt like I was having a heart attack every time I drove. And I was just looking at her thinking, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this. And I ended up having to drive her to a walk-in hospital. Like, not, it wasn't an A&E, it was like a minor injuries hospital. I said to my mum beforehand, I was like, I need you to come with me. My mum came with me, and I remember we were sat in the waiting room, and I was getting up and walking outside every 2 minutes, because I was like, this is really, really hard for me to deal with, like being in this environment and feeling like I can't move and I can't go anywhere, and I'm trying to support my daughter when I'm going absolutely like crazy inside. Like my head was just, it's really hard to explain how it felt. I feel like just the way I'm going like this, everyone with OCD knows what I'm saying. It was just too much. So yeah, fast forward 2 years. I went back and stayed at my mum's house as well, actually. That's another thing. I didn't feel like I'd go home after that. I was so anxious and scared, and I just felt so overwhelmed. So I went back and stayed at my mum's house. And I remember I got my daughter like a cinnamon bun. I picked it up before the play as like a well done, like a little thing of flowers and a cinnamon bun. And there was a spare cinnamon bun that I was going to eat, but I remember she ate hers, and I just sat there looking at mine thinking, there's no way, because I know I spoke a lot about like binging through anxiety, but binging was when I was anxious, but not like chronically anxious. When I was like chronically anxious, when it was really bad, I couldn't eat anything. Like the idea of food just made my stomach turn. So fast forward 2 years, a much happier story. So my daughter got a really good part in the play this year. She was one of the lead roles, and she had loads of lines, and she's been really nervous about it. She's been practicing really hard. She was absolutely fantastic. But it was like a 2-night thing, and 2 years ago I went on the one night, and the second night she didn't go because of her lip anyway. But I wasn't planning on going the second night because it was an ordeal to get myself there for one night. This year, as soon as the tickets came out, I was like, I'm getting both nights. I took various family members with me on the different nights because she was a leading role. I wanted family to be there as well. So yeah, I got it for both nights, and both nights I just sat there like, this is amazing. It was so good. And I was so happy and proud of her. And after the second night, I dropped some family members home, and then I went and picked her back up from the school because she stuck around to hang out with the cast after for a little bit. And then I went and picked her up from school, and I came home and I did some work, and you know, this was all like 9 o'clock at night by now, which before that would have been a no for me, because evenings for me were like, I was on like a sedative, and by like 4-5 o'clock, as soon as I'd finished work, as soon as that time was, I felt like I didn't have anything else to really do. And in reality, I probably had loads to do, but if it wasn't something I had to do, I was like, right, sedative, lay on the sofa, play a game with my daughter on my phone so I can like fully distract my life was so small. Now I just do absolutely everything, you know, even if a sensation of anxiety comes up, I continue as normal. It goes away again because I don't give it any attention. It has no control over my life whatsoever. Absolutely none. I am in control of my life. And that's really helped. That's made me have my life back, which is great because I never thought I would have that. So yeah, annual check-ins are really good for things like that because it reminds you of just how far you've come without the need to constantly be checking an internal thermometer. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if you are interested in OCD Recovery's one-to-one coaching services, you can pop an email to phil@ocdrecovery.com or message the OCD Recovery WhatsApp, which is coming up on the screen now. Thank you.